Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about 3 tips that I have on how to deal with and get through a death anniversary. Now I have a few clients who in the next couple months they're going to be going through this, and I know that this applies to a lot of you as well, and a lot of you that have commented on other videos. So I want to kind of address this specifically and hopefully kind of help you guys get through the anniversary of someone's passing. So that is what we're going to talk about today. And if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love it if you subscribed. And if you want notifications, click the little bell and you'll get notifications when a new video comes out. Okay, so how do we deal with the anniversary of when someone passes? This is something that's really hard, and it's difficult for a long time, probably forever, right? If it's somebody that was really close to you. And it does change as time goes on, so I want to talk about that too. But the first tip that I have is that we really have to plan for it, and we have to prepare for it and prep for it. Because if we don't, then often we're flooded with emotion and we're triggered and things come up and we just can't deal very well. So we want to prep for that. And I want you to know that no matter what you need and what you want to get through it, or what kind of you're wanting to do, whether that's like isolating and just totally cutting everyone off for a little bit, or whether that's distracting and going and doing something, either one of those is perfectly fine and perfectly normal. So do what you need to do and what feels right for you. And that may be like nothing feels right, but you feel really upset and emotional and you don't know if you can handle a lot of things, or going out and dealing with people and the world, right? So I try, if that's the case, to prep with you more downtime and more time where you have less obligations, or you can do more from home, or you can work more from home, or you can take some days off, or you can just really give yourself the space and the time that you need. And often that's not only that day or around that time, but it's that whole month, right? That whole period of time can be difficult. So we want to give you the time and the space to be able to feel and deal with what you have to deal with. And it's not comfortable and it's not pretty, but at least if we remove some of the barriers and some of the other stressors, then those things won't be making it even harder. Because if you have tons of obligations that month, that can be really difficult and hard to manage if you get really overwhelmed and triggered. On the other hand, some people like to stay busy, and that's totally fine, but we want to make sure that is a conscious choice and that really is what you want and what you need. So if you want to stay busy and you want to stay distracted, that's totally fine. We just want to get through this, but just make sure like I'm doing this and this is actually helping. I'm not just kind of running myself into the ground and not really thinking about it, and I can handle it. This is kind of what works for me. So either way you go is important and good. It's fine, right? It doesn't matter really what it looks like. This is really personal. So just try to prep and plan ahead for that. Yeah, so the next one is to process as you're able to. And this looks really different for everyone. And I want to kind of drive that home, that there is no process and step-by-step way that this goes. So there is, a kind of a grief phase, right, that you go through, grief phases and a grief model, but that's not linear, and some people don't go through them all. Maybe they bounce around, maybe it looks totally different. It's not a clear linear model. So when I say process as you're able to, that is both to lean into that emotion when you're ready to talk about it and with safe people, and also give yourself a little bit of patience if you're not ready and you can't deal with that at all. I have one client who, it's 20 years after she lost a loved one, and she's just now able to start talking about it and pull out letters and start to go through that process with me. And to this day, she doesn't do anything on that day. She doesn't go anywhere. She can't be in public because anything will trigger her and she gets too emotional. And that's fine. That's not I mean, she felt like that meant that she was failing, or she wasn't doing something right, or she wasn't processing enough, but she wasn't ready. And now she is, and now she's leaning into it and she's going there. But everyone's timeline and process looks different, and it also looks different in the form that you take. So obviously I'm a therapist, so talk therapy and psychotherapy I think are really powerful places to process this. But if you don't want to do that, or you're not ready for that, there's lots of other outlets. Art therapy can be really powerful. Yoga, dance, I've seen a lot of those things really help. So finding the outlet that works for you to process is also really, really important. And again, that doesn't have to look like someone else's, right? Someone else could be, they really like to read and educate themselves about grief and all of that, and that helps. That's great. But if that's not you, that's fine. That's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with you. What you need and what you want is individual, and you deserve that to be respected. So try to start first with respecting it for yourself. So the third tip that I have is do something to, kind of honor or commemorate the person, but only as you want to again and as you're able to. And what I see with my clients is this gets easier and bigger the more that time passes. So at least the first couple years, we're not often able to do that. Some people are ready and they jump into that, and that feels good. They want to do something and they want to kind of commemorate that person, but some people aren't for a while. And then eventually they have worked through things and they're ready to kind of do something to honor the person, or go do something the person really wanted to do. Okay, I have one client who went skydiving because that was always something that her friend wanted to do. So she went and did that, and that was something that was powerful. She's like, she didn't get to do this, so I'm going to do this for her. So those kind of things can be helpful. Obviously visiting the graveyard or doing something like that is kind of also traditional and can be helpful. Also, maybe you don't want to do that, and that's fine. I have people write letters to the loved one that they lost sometimes, or remember things about them that they appreciated and that they admired, and kind of try to live out those values a little bit more. So those are all options for you if you want to and if it feels good. But if it doesn't yet, and you're like, I'm honestly just going to try to get through this and survive, I can't do anything else, that's fine. Do that, that's fine. And as you're ready, and if you want to, try some of these things out and see if they help. So those are kind of my 3 tips, keeping it pretty simple today. But if you have any comments or questions, leave them below or reach out to me on my website, truetoyoucounseling.com.